This is a quick 8-minute overview of customer outcome selling. Here's a quote for us all. When we come in second, we paid the most to lose. Let that just soak in a bit more. When we come in second, we paid the most to lose. This is not only profound, but obviously a bit painful. This quote came from a customer of ours, and even though they had surmounted a fair amount of success within their sales organization, when they looked back at their portfolio of performance over the past year, they realized that there were still second place finishes that should have been first. And even though this quote came from just one of our customers, we hear this same sentiment from sales leaders across the globe in all different verticals. And so to help our customers with this growing challenge, we created customer outcome selling. Customer outcome selling is a sales methodology and playbook for medium to complex sales. And while many of our customers use this to onboard new reps, even more of our customers use this to elevate the skills within some of their most seasoned and successful sales performers. Now, there are 3 points of primary focus that are guided by our customers' request. First, they said, help us create a common language and common process across our entire sales organization that will then lead to greater consistency within our customer interactions that will ultimately produce an increase in sales predictability and performance. And so to help our customers achieve this to an even greater degree, we created 6 modules of skill development. And while we typically deliver this in a live 2-day format, know that we can collaborate and calibrate the deliverable to meet your specific skill development desired outcomes and timeframes. This also includes the ability for us to deliver this in a virtual format, say over a period of weeks. Let's review the 6 modules and then do a quick deeper dive into each. Number 1, pre-engagement research. Number 2, making initial contact. Number 3, calibrating the conversation. Number 4, discovery. Number 5, navigating objections and fears. And number 6, presenting the solution. All 6 contain activities so that your reps will see and practice how they will be used in their real-world selling situations. Diving into number 1, pre-engagement research, and there are 4 key segments that the reps will fully engage in. Their first one is research criteria. That is, what do you want your reps to know prior to engaging a customer? Next, resources. Once they know the criteria to look for, we resource them with tools to help them expedite the research process. From there, we go on to research outcome. Now that they've completed the research, what is the final outcome you want them to achieve? Now, researching and prospecting obviously takes time, so this next section is dedicated to resourcing the reps with a tool for creating even greater clarity as to where they need to apply their focus and activities on a daily basis. Now we move on to making initial contact. Now, it should be noted, this is not only about making initial contact within new accounts, but in many cases, it's about expanding our reach within existing accounts. And within this section, there are several skill development segments. The first one is the best practices for writing influential emails. After equipping the reps with what's called the 8 rules of engagement for writing effective emails, as well as being provided several samples, each rep will then compose a masterpiece email and then share with their colleagues. From there, we move to cold calls. Now, we realize that not every sales organization makes a traditional cold call. And thus we have created 3 versions: cold call, cool call, and warm call. And depending on your sales dynamics and marketplace, we will calibrate the deliverable to meet your needs. And just as we did with emails, once they are provided the best practice and samples for making effective phone calls, they then create their own version and then role play with their colleagues in class. Now, many times our phone calls are going to turn to voicemail, and so we quickly cover the best practice for leaving a voicemail that promotes more prospects to actually call us back. From there, we move into the best practices for navigating resistors and gatekeepers. This is all about how to get someone to engage who seems to be resistant. Perhaps they engaged in a first conversation, but now they've gone silent and/or they have a gatekeeper to keep us out. So this answers the question, in what ways can we re-engage and captivate their interest? Next, on-demand differentiation. This is all about how we walk into that first meeting with a customer, and we know that we need to captivate everyone's interest and demonstrate that we are truly different than the competition. From there, we move into social scorecard. More and more buyers and procurement officers are taking a peek at our LinkedIn profiles and then deciding if they want to meet. So this is all about how to quickly enhance our LinkedIn profiles to earn the most virtual trust. The final segment is on-demand value pitch. This really centers on how to prepare and perform well when a prospect says something like, you know what, before you get too deep, first give us a high-level overview of who you are and what you do. Or, tell me why you're here and why I should listen. This is a pivotal moment for us to earn their favor, and so we will advance skills for delivering a clear, concise, and compelling opening statement that motivates the audience to engage us further. Now we move on to calibrating the conversation, and there are 6 segments: confidence versus connection, emotional bank account, buyer styles. Then we have functional buyer types, purpose for engagement, and finally, style of engagement. The end result of all 6 is to equip the reps with the ability to enhance how they will calibrate their customer conversations to meet the needs of the individual stakeholders' personality styles, buyer types, and reason for engagement. Now we move on to discovery. This segment is all about how to dive deep into the customer needs while at the same time expanding the relationship connection. We first go into smarter discovery. There are 7 categories of insights that we want to obtain from the customer during our engagement, and this provides a smart checklist to ensure we're on the pathway to success. Next, competitiveness analysis. Within this section, the reps will be given a tool to help them determine how they measure up to the competition based on the customer's primary buying factors. And then we dive deep into the customer dialogue wheel. Step by step, we will go through the stages of progression as it relates to a customer conversation, not only in order to obtain insights, but also to strengthen the relationship with the customer. This final segment within discovery also centers on the commodity slice. This is all about how to navigate the customer back to discovery with finesse when they try to leap too soon to proposal and price. Now let's move into navigating objections and fears. First, we will take a look at the emotional impulses that we must navigate, both from the customer's perspective and sometimes our own, that get in the way of moving the relationship forward. Then we move through a 3-part framework for navigating resistance. Each rep will surface their real-world objections, and then they will use the framework to demonstrate for their colleagues how they will create even greater success moving forward. And the final module that we will go into, presenting the solution. Here we first review the best practices for effective story selling. Then they will receive the framework for building out a real-world value proposition, build their own, and then showcase. And now we come to the final segment, and that is confirming value. And this is all about ensuring that the customer is engaged and ready to finalize the purchase. Once the reps have journeyed through all skill development exercises, they will now have even greater skills for increasing revenue, increase in velocity, that is to increase the speed that we go from initial conversation to contract close, and finally, number 3, differentiation. From beginning to end, engaging customers in such a way that truly defines your solution and engagement as superior to all others, and thus turning second place finishes into first. Welcome to Customer Outcome Selling.